Hello and welcome to What the Fuck Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics, brought to you by Matt Kieser. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Wednesday, June 27th, 2018. Welcome to day 524. Justice Anthony Kennedy will retire from the Supreme Court at the end of July, giving Trump a second chance to fundamentally shift the court to the right for decades by creating a 5-member conservative majority. Kennedy was the court's leading champion of gay rights, who also joined the court's liberals in cases on abortion, affirmative action, and the death penalty. Kennedy's decision to retire will impact the midterm elections as Democrats and Republicans fight for control of the Senate, which confirms Supreme Court justices. Senate Democrats currently lack the number of votes needed to deny the seat to Trump's nominee, whoever that may be. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court ruled that non-union public sector workers cannot be required to pay union fees despite being represented by the union in collective bargaining negotiations. A 1977 decision made the distinction that forcing non-members to pay for a union's political activities violated the First Amendment, but that it was constitutional to require non-members to help pay for the union's collective bargaining efforts. More than 1/3 of public employees are unionized, and public sector unions stand to lose tens of millions of dollars as a result of the ruling. Next, a federal judge ordered the federal government to reunite migrant families that were separated under the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy and to end most family separations. U.S. District Court Judge Dana Sabraw issued a nationwide injunction requiring that all children under the age of 5 be reunited with their parents within 14 days, and that older children be reunited within 30 days, as well as temporarily stopping the practice of separating children from their parents. The judge also ordered that all children who have been separated be allowed to talk to their parents within 10 days. Meanwhile, Jeff Sessions called the outrage over separating migrant children from their families a radicalized issue championed by the lunatic fringe living in gated communities.
So the rhetoric we hear from the other side on this issue, as on many others, has become radicalized. We hear views on television today that are on the lunatic fringe, frankly. And what is perhaps more galling is the hypocrisy.
Sessions was speaking to the Criminal Justice Legal Foundation in Los Angeles, where he suggested that those who condemn the division of families who cross the border illegally are hypocrites.
These same people live in gated communities, many of them, and are featured at events where you have to have an ID to even come in and hear them speak. They like a little security around themselves, and if you try to scale the fence, believe me, they'll be even too happy to have you arrested and separated from your children. I would like to see that. So they want borders in their lives, but not in yours.
Next, a former Fox News executive is expected to be the next White House communications director. Bill Shine was forced out as Fox News co-president for how he handled sexual harassment claims at the network. Shine is good friends with Sean Hannity. Next, Trump will meet with Vladimir Putin in the next few weeks, according to National Security Advisor John Bolton. The meeting is expected to take place in mid-July, when Trump will be in Europe for a previously scheduled NATO summit in Brussels on July 11th and 12th. America's European allies are worried that Trump's meeting with Putin will undermine the NATO summit in the same way Trump clashed with allies at the G7 summit and then praised dictator Kim Jong-un. Asked why the meeting was taking place, Bolton replied, quote, "I'd like to hear someone say this is a bad idea," end quote. And finally, first-time candidate Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez defeated 10-term incumbent Joe Crowley in the Democratic primary for New York's 14th congressional district on Tuesday. Ocasio-Cortez's grassroots victory is being called one of the most shocking political upsets of the year, marking the first time in 14 years that a member of Crowley's own party attempted to unseat him. Crowley outspent Ocasio-Cortez by a 10-to-1 margin. And in the polls, Politico says 74% of voters support Trump's decision to reverse his administration's own policy of separating children from their family when they're caught crossing the border illegally. 44% approve of the way Trump is handling immigration, compared to 48% who disapprove. And Axios says 92% of Republicans believe the news media frequently and intentionally reports false or misleading stories. Overall, 65% of Americans think fake news is reported because people have an agenda. 30% believe it's due to laziness or poor fact-checking, and 3% think fake news is reported by accident. And now to the notables, a list of stories and headlines that didn't make it into the main update but are still worth knowing about. 1. Sarah Huckabee Sanders will receive temporary Secret Service protection for an unspecified period of time. 2. Conservatives unsuccessfully lobbied Scott Pruitt last year to remove a career staffer in hopes of derailing the 13-agency National Climate Assessment. 3. Trump's voter fraud commission was ordered to hand over documents demanded by Democrats by July 18th. 4. North Korea continues to make upgrades to its nuclear reactor at a rapid pace despite pledging to denuclearize. And 5. Trump made 103 false statements last week, setting a new one-week record for his presidency. And remember, you can find the links and sources for all of these stories, including the notables, on the main website. That's all for now. Visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines, brought to you by Matt Kieser. Until next time, I'm Joe Anditas.